Forget about the Martini-Henry. Today on Game & Review, I'm going to be showing you how to reliably snipe at all ranges. We're going to be covering close, medium, and far. Because if you really want to become the full package as a recon, you need to be able to hold your weight in all these situations. In Battlefield, you really never know what kind of situation you're going to be thrown into. That's why you need to be ready to make all these plays. You need to be ready to do your no scopes, your quick scopes, and of course your long scopes. And that's what we're going to be covering in the video. You're also going to want to get yourself a reliable gun. I suggest something that's a little bit quicker to load than the revolvers because they just do take forever and they leave you out of the fight when you really need that ammo. That's why I'm going to recommend you use a pistol that does come with a clip because you're going to need those reloads. Your pistol is really the backbone of a sniper, especially when you're in that close distance combat. And that's what we're going to start off with in this video. We're going to go from close, medium, and then we're going to go to the long range. In the last video, I covered the flare because I think if you're going to do well as a recon, you have to be able to use that flare, especially when you're going into those close combat scenarios, because it is a lot harder on the sniper. You need to know their positioning. If you look on the bottom left on the minimap, you can see how the field of view cone tightens when you go down in sights, and that's how I was tracking this last guy. That's how we're going to be getting these close distance kills. You have to have that intel, so get used to the flare. If you're not familiar with the mechanics, check out the last video. On the opposite side, for the long range shots, I do use the 1903 with a scope. In my opinion, you should be using a scope. If not, it gets a lot harder to make long range shots. I find that you need the visibility. So in my recommendation, you should be using one of the snipers with a scope. This is the one that I ended up following as my main because it does offer a good field of view. You can see how you can see around the scope, so that's why I like to use it. And a lot of these shots are actually a lot easier than they seem. The quick scopes are actually a lot easier, so are the long range scopes in this game because of the bullet drop. It's actually pretty low. But one thing you have to remember about the close range is that you never want to stop strafing. I can't emphasize that enough. You'd be surprised how many people are going to miss shots just from simple strafing, and you need to buy that time when you're using a sniper because you need to cock that bullet back into the chamber. Now, in regards to using a bayonet, now it seems to be a myth to me. I've tried them both. I'm actually going back to using a bayonet on my sniper because I find that it doesn't increase the aim down sight times. I don't find that it interfered with my quick scopes. The accuracy seemed to be fine. So I'm actually recommending you use a bayonet because that free kill that you can get when you're behind people, you really do need the bayonet. I find that sometimes I see a large group of people. I've already exhausted my grenade, my pistol, my sniper. At that point, you want to have that bayonet. And one of the things I'm never going to do on Game & Review is bullshit, you guys. That's why I like throwing in these extended clips like this one. I'm just going to do small cuts just so you can see that these things are actually reliable. And yeah, every so often I'm going to throw a stray shot. But the truth of the matter is that these quick shots work really well in this game. And I am not using any kind of sticky on my screen. I'm just looking at my reticle, and I try to typically keep it at least at, leveled. So if anybody comes, I'm going to be hitting them in their chest, just like this guy. So can you play the objective with a sniper? You bet you can. It's actually one of the better classes. I have my flare out right now. I have complete awareness of what's going on. And it makes it so you feel relaxed with a sniper. I know a lot of people get really tense when situations get really close up, but that's actually where the sniper can do some of its best work. If you notice that there's too many people around you, just bypass them. You know where they're going to be. And medium range shots are where snipers are really the best. This is the range that I preferably try to be in, and that was terrible pistoling. I should have aimed higher on the torso, but typically you can get away with finishing somebody off with a pistol at that range, so that's still something that I'm going to do. I use the Mars Volta. It seems to work really well for me. Again, I talked about the revolvers, and really if you're going to be on a really wide open map, maybe you want to take them because then you have more time to set up for the reload because you're not going to be playing up close. It really depends on the map. If I know I'm going to be really far away from people, or at least always engage them in medium, I may switch out my pistol for something with a little more oomph and a little more range. And when it comes to sniping, I never ever rely on the sweet spot mechanic. I'm always ready to follow up with a pistol in close or medium range because you're going to need to. I don't think you should ever assume that somebody's going to die. That's why I go for always 2 shots, then you know they are toast. Up to 3 if you get a really bad shot off with your hand cannon at range. Sometimes if you hit them in the limb, they're not going to die. And don't worry guys, I'm not dead. I'm just taking a rest. We are going to come right back. Now, when I go into the field, one of the things that I typically do first is put out a flare, and you're going to notice that I always switch to my sniper. Unless I know that I'm safe, I instantly switch because usually that time in between, if you're trying to reload your flare, will get you killed. I also spend a lot of time looking at my minimap. Remember to zoom it out. I said this in the last video, but I can't believe how important this is. I had a lot of friends that actually, their minimaps were so zoomed in, they couldn't even see the full radius of the of the flare, so they weren't getting the benefit of it. That's why I caught this guy. I'm constantly looking at this radar. Anybody who's really familiar with first-person shooters will already have that ingrained into their head. You need to be looking at this. So in this clip right here, which are going to be just a few cuts, we're going to go over medium and short range. We're going to kind of put that all together. So I'm just going to commentate this really quick. Now, the reason this is my favorite range to snipe at is because you're actually able to make those predictions a lot easier. If somebody's walking, you know, it only takes a little bit of foresight to see where they're going to be. If they're running, same thing. But the thing is that when you are trying to snipe, you need them to be either in a full run or a full walk. And this is always the case the further away they get. Because if they're going to be all unpredictable like strafing, you might as well not even take the shot, because the odds of you actually landing it are pretty slim. If you're going to be going into the higher ranges, you have to wait till they're either stationary or they're doing something consistently like running, so you can line up the shot, or if they're walking or anything like that. The pistol spam at close and medium ranges are your friend when you're sniping. Don't underestimate your pistol. What you do want to do is kind of take the bullet time into account, though they're obviously a lot slower, so you do have to still lead your shots. You also want to make sure that you're getting them in the upper torso. Now, the other thing about sniping that's important is obviously positioning. I have always been pretty good at this. I have good awareness, so I'm looking at A right now because I'm expecting people to start migrating from A to either B or just bypass and start going this way. When I missed that shot, I had a pretty good idea that somebody may be there, so I had to be ready for them. Right now, I'm anticipating that somebody's actually above the rock, and they are. I can see them on the radar, and this way, most of them aren't even willing to jump down. They love their spot. Now, this I thought was pretty interesting. Getting shot does throw off your aim. You're going to see that was right practically at his abdomen, maybe the crotch, but since he was flinching me, it threw off the accuracy of the shot. So let's jump into the long range. Now, when I'm looking at long-range snipes, again, you're looking for them to do something consistently. Either they're consistently going to the left, they're going to go straight. You just have to find some sort of pattern so you can predict where they're going to be. If they're moving too erratic, you have to just slow down and wait for that shot. Now, one of the things about long-range sniping is that you're typically going up against other snipers. So first, you have to find out where they are. Right now, all I hear is bullets whizzing by me, and I'm feeling pretty safe. All I'm going to do is strafe until I get a better idea of where they're shooting. First, I use sound, and now I'm going to use the visuals. I saw the bullet actually traveling through the air. I'm going to let him miss another shot, and then I'm going to go ahead for my shot. Now, the way that it works when counter sniping is that typically you want to time out your shots, so you're strafing when he's shooting, and then you take a small break, and then you take your shot. Now, lying down in this game is absolutely terrible. I don't know why I see so many snipers lying down. I said this in Battlefield 4, I said this in Battlefield 3. Lying down is absolutely useless. The only habit you need to get into is holding your breath, and you stop moving for those seconds that you're lining up your shot. That's it. That's all. Otherwise, you're actually putting yourself in a terrible position. If you're lying down, that means you're stationary, and it's super easy to get those headshots on you. If you're going to be lying down, it's going to be for a second. It's just to dodge a shot, and then you got to get right back on your feet. Now, the patch came out so you can go right into your sprint, and that's what you want to do. Do not lie down and stay there. You can try lying down and slightly moving, but you got to get up onto your feet relatively fast. If not, you are going to be sniped. So I'm going to go take a quick look at F. There's a guy moving. I really don't feel too confident about the shot. I thought maybe I can get him in the animation as he was climbing, but even then, you can see that it's very tough. There is a relatively long travel time for the bullet where they can make any small action and you're going to miss. So again, even though I'm showing you some long-range sniping, it's only going to work against people that are not playing particularly well, in the sense that they are not moving and they're staying stationary. That's the best way to get killed in this game. So when you've run out of flares, how do you play the short game with the sniper? Well, you're doing it two ways. You are either going to use your headphones because you can hear people when they're really close up. Like I just heard this horse, that's why I'm going to go ahead and back up. And the second way that you're going to do is just by playing normally. You're just going to have to get comfortable with those quick scopes and those no scopes. And I don't know what it is about the cavalry, but for some reason I find that my sniper is just drawn to it. It's probably one of my most consistent no scopes. I don't know why. Again, maybe it's that the aim assist. You know, this one's beyond me, but that's one of the best ways I've found to take out cavalry. Since they do have that extra armor, you want to make sure that you're using your sniper. This is also the case when you have multiple opponents. If you know that you're going to have a problem with your pistol, you need to move on to the sniper, even if it's going to be harder to make the shot. The reason for that being is that you know that there's actually going to be... See, that's a good shot with the pistol. That's a decent range, and that's a good finish. I like that. But the thing is that I know a lot of people will be like, well, that seems really hard. But the thing is, if it's your only choice at a successful engagement, go ahead and take it. It's also going to make it so you become more comfortable in those scenarios, so you're not always chickening out and falling back onto your pistol. Pistols are still great. They can compete with primaries, which is something I really like about this game. But the thing is, you do typically want to start off with your sniper. And if you do it this way, you're going to be saving bullets on your pistol, which you're going to need for the next engagement. And you're not going to hit 100% of these shot guys, but I hope I at least gave you some insight into how you can be using your recon class at all ranges. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm Paper, cut to you. This is Game and Review. If you guys can like, share, leave some comments with some insights in regards to what you guys think about the recon class. Again, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.